Guys, and welcome to the next stage of the course. Today what we're going to talk about is identifying trend and using market structure. So in theory, the way the market should move is something like this, right? Price should go up and down, up and down, up. And this is what it looks like when we're in a bullish trend, which means price is moving up. In bullish trends, the impulsive move is the big move that pushes upwards. Hopefully you can read this. So this is the impulsive move, and the move that goes downwards, which is the little bearish move, is a corrective move slash pullback. Now different people call this different things, but this is what we're going to call it. So we've got impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. So price can't just go bang like that in one direction, and it can't just go like that in the other direction. What we've got to know is that these are the moves that we have. So once we have this, we have to look at a bearish move. So let's get a red pen. Bearish goes down, up, down, up, down like this. And of course, same thing goes. This is the impulsive on the push down, as it's the impulse, and the push up is the corrective. Same again, or the pull back. Hopefully you guys can read this. Hopefully it makes sense. So when we have this, this is what a bearish market looks like, and the other was what a bullish market looks like. In terms of these sort of drawings, if I get a black pen here, and we talk about this like this, when we're in a bullish trend, price makes higher highs and then higher lows. Now these are quite self-explanatory, but a higher high is a high that's higher than the previous. So the higher high comes at the end of a impulsive move, and the higher low comes at a corrective move. Now, when price is moving up, like here, this is the high. Price has now made a higher high here. So now this is the higher high, and it makes a corrective move right here, and again it's higher than this previous low, so this is the higher low. Same thing goes with the bearish trend. I'm not going to repeat it, you understand the picture. Okay, now in a trend, if we get rid of this again and price does something like this, that is fine. We're still in a bullish trend. Okay, why? Because if we look at this here, this is our low. Price doesn't break this low, okay? Price doesn't go below this low. So this is our higher high. This is not a higher low, but it is an equal low. I'll write it in this time. Equal low. And then next one, higher high, higher low, and we continue the trend. One thing that we must keep in mind is it must alternate, okay? So you can't have something that looks something like this. If I get rid of this again, you can't have a high high, then another high, and then do something like this, and then do this. Okay, so if price was like this, this is your high high, this is your higher low, this right here is not your higher high, this will be your highest high, because you can't have two highs back to back. This here is your higher high, and this will be your higher low. So it's important that you don't confuse it. You can't have a high high, then a high high, then a high high, then a higher low. A trend has to go high, low, high, low, high, low. And same for the bearish trend, okay? This is how we identify market structure. These are how markets move. Now, if we're looking at something like a change in trend, for example, this is what we want to accomplish next. So of course we'll be making our high highs, higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, and then once price breaks that low, potentially we're looking at a change in trend. You see, this is the low here. So again, I'll mark it out so you understand. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then higher low, higher high. but we don't get a new higher high, right? If price came up here, of course we get our next higher high, and this higher low right here would no longer be the higher low. This would be our equal low, and then we would have made a higher high up here. But since we didn't do that, we need to be looking at a potential change in trend. If price did make that blue push here and made a new high, then we're still bullish. But if price now comes up to here and then goes like this, what's this? So now this is now our, undo. This is now a lower high, okay? This one would have been a potential lower low, but we didn't confirm it until we got this lower high. Now again, this is lower low, lower high. Now, it's all well and good looking at it like this. Price never looks like this on the chart, and we will go into this in just a second, but I just want to make this sort of clear. Understanding different time frames is very important. So, for example, let me show you right here. I'm going to draw right here. This is your higher high, higher low formation. Okay, everyone should be mildly comfortable with this. So not comfortable, but just understand of it. And go from there. Potentially, what we want to look at is this right here. Say this is the 4-hour time frame, and we don't know how many candles are here as we're just drawing it like this. But if this was the 4-hour time frame, potentially if we went into the 30-minute time frame, this impulse right here, is probably going to be doing this. Okay, so it's going to be making higher highs and higher lows on a lower time frame as well. Now, this is where it sort of gets confusing, because if you don't focus on the higher time frame to pick your trend, higher time frame, let me write this out. So if you don't focus on your higher time frame, which is very important, that's where you should be getting your overall trend from. So essentially what you want to look for is higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows in the higher time frame. And then once you find your higher low in a higher time frame, you want to be looking in a smaller time frame to then look for buys and get what we call confluence, which is multiple sort of indicators that direct us in the same direction. So on the 4-hour, it's doing this, and essentially in this pullback phase, the pullback phase in the 5-minute, we're making lower highs and lower lows. What you don't want to be doing is thinking this is now a downtrend, because until on the higher time frame that you analyzed your trend on, if price doesn't break below this previous low here, for example like this, and go down, then price hasn't changed in trend. It's only changed on the lower time frame, which is now correcting on the higher time frame. Now I know this is going to be really hard to understand to begin with, and this is where you need to put a lot of focus into your learning. Especially drawn out like this is very complicated, but we are going to head over to the charts now, and it's going to get a lot more complicated, and I'm going to tell you this now. It's not easy. You're going to have to put a lot of time into understanding this concept. Although very basic to begin with, it can be overcomplicated. You've got to keep it simple, and it never looks like as clean as we have drawn right here, purely because market doesn't move that nicely. If it did, we'd all be rich. So I'm going to see you over on TradingView. Make sure you get it open and ready to mimic what I'm doing, and we will have a look at it on the chart. Okay guys, so we've just covered how higher lows, market structure and identifying trend works. Now we're going to look at it on the real life charts. This is Euro, AUD, which is Australian dollar. We're on the 4-hour chart, as you can see right here, 4-hour time frame, and we're just going to break it down. So obviously it doesn't look like how we went about it in the thing, in the pre-section. This is just exactly how it looks like now. So this right here we're going to class as our first low. So this is our low, this right here is our high, and this is our higher low. This is not a higher high, okay? So potentially this is a failed higher, a potential failed higher high. So this could be a potential lower high should price break below this low here, if that makes sense. So if price came below here, which it didn't, the low here, which it doesn't, but if it did, this would now be a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low formation, which could potentially mean trend is now bearish, and that's what you should be looking for. But it doesn't. So this is not a lower higher high, but it also isn't a lower high. It was just a potential question mark here. But of course that doesn't matter now. So we do make our next high, which is now here. This was the next point that broke our previous high, which is here. So this is now the higher high. I know it's hard to read because I'm using the mouse, but it is understandable. Potentially this was the higher low, and we didn't make a higher high here, so this is now our higher low. Because we can't do the same thing twice, remember we have to go higher high, higher low. This is now our lower high, sorry. Wait, higher low, yeah, so higher low from here. So essentially what our trend looks like now is high, low, and now we're at a failed higher high. And again, we could wait and price could potentially do this and make a new higher high. But as we can already see, it doesn't. It breaks the previous low. So now what we're looking for is a downtrend again. Hopefully this makes sense. This is the lower high. We failed to make a lower low just yet, so that's that. This still failed to make a lower low. We keep scrolling. Now this, again, we haven't made our lower low, so this has to be the lower high because it's higher than this potential lower high here. So if I remove this and sort of explain what I'm talking about, now this is our lower high. Because we couldn't do lower high again, this is now the trend, okay? Again, lower low, lower high, and now we're at present price, so we can't go any further. Not what we're expecting. So it went from higher high, higher low, higher high. Again, we identified here that this was a failed push up, but it also didn't push below this low, so we're still high, we're still bullish. And again, higher high. Same thing happened here, failed to push above this high, but it did break this low, so trend change. We're looking for bullish trend now. And again, this is what I was on about. In the lower time frame, it's very easy to get confused, especially if you zoom in here. It just looks, you know, this is just going high, high, low, high, low. But you have to look at the bigger picture right here again. So what we're expecting now, we're expecting the next thing to happen is to be a lower low. And obviously we can't see what happens because this is now current price, but that is what we're expecting to happen. I just want to zoom into potentially the 30-minute chart. Yeah, so we're bearish here, right? In the corrective move, let's find a good, like right here, if I zoom all the way in, this is now, you know, high, low formation, and then drops to a lower, and this doesn't break the high, so potentially lower low. And now we're looking at this sort of trend inside of a 4-hour downtrend, okay? Wherever that, here, this was here. That's why you've got to focus on the higher time frame bias and then pick your trades on the lower time frame based off this bias. So our bias is bearish. So within this, if I can find where I was just drawing, which should be here somewhere, here, we're looking for the sells. So we're trying to buy on the lower highs. Essentially, I'm not going to go in depth and teach you how to analyze just yet. We're just trying to buy on lower highs, sorry, we're trying to sell on lower highs and make that next move downwards and catch the sells. The reason why we do this, because we're trading with the higher time frame trend, which is always what you want to do. Is the trend is your friend, you always want to trade with the trend until you get more confident, and then we will teach how to potentially go against the trend. For example, 4-hour right now, bearish, we're going to catch this pullback here, this, and potentially right here we could catch a buy here. But again, we're just going to keep it simple for now. High time frame, identify highs and lows, send pictures into the group. People will be able to help you out, not just the mentors, a lot of experienced traders in this community right now, a lot of funded traders. So ask in the group, one of the mentors might reply, someone else in the community might reply. But go into your chart, find a pair, and just try and mark this out, okay? Try and get the gist of trends, trying to understand which trend goes where. and trying to understand how market structure works. Again, impulsive, corrective, failed to make a new higher high. Again, like I say, it has to go higher high, higher low, higher high. So then for this to continue bullish, the next move needs to be a higher high. But at the same time, this is a potential lower high and then lower low, which is what we got, lower high, lower low. So hopefully you understand the gist of this, and we'll move on from there. See you in the next part of the course.